Hello and welcome to Bite-Sized Tax Tips. Today's video focuses on one of the most generous tax reliefs available, the Enterprise Investment Scheme, or EIS. This is a tax reducer and a useful tax planning tool for most individuals. So let's get right into it. In this video, we'll show you how it's possible to claim income tax relief, loss relief, capital gains tax exemption, capital gains tax deferral, and inheritance tax exemption. The reason the tax reliefs are available is because EIS is government approved. What we mean by government approved is that each company must apply for EIS status, and EIS status is only granted by the government after the company meets a strict qualifying criteria. So by providing generous tax reliefs for EIS subscriptions, the government is actively encouraging individuals to consider EIS. It's important to note that EIS tax reliefs are only available to individuals and you must be a UK taxpayer. I'm sure you're wondering at this point how it's possible to claim all the tax reliefs. Well, let's look at a couple of examples of how that might be possible. Say you subscribe to £25,000 worth of EIS shares. You get 30% upfront income tax relief in the year of subscription. So your net cost at this point is £17,500. As with many investments, it is possible to make a loss, and EIS is no different. So, in the worst case scenario, what happens if you make a loss? Well, in addition to the upfront income tax relief, you can claim loss relief, potentially up to 45%. So that means you're able to claim a further £7,875, and therefore your net loss because of the tax reliefs in this scenario is £9,625. So in the worst case scenario, you're able to recover to £15,375 through upfront income tax relief and loss relief. However, I'm sure no one would invest in anything with the intention of making a loss. And this is where the tax relief becomes even more generous. In the upside scenario, what if the EIS subscription results in a gain of 5 times or 10 times or even 50 times the value of your original subscription? Well, as long as you hold the shares for 3 years, there's no capital gains tax. And after a 2-year holding period, there's also no inheritance tax. So in this scenario, you get upfront income tax relief in any case. If you make a loss, you get loss relief up to 45%. And in the upside scenario, there is capital gains tax exemption and inheritance tax exemption. Right, let's look at another example of how EIS tax relief might work in the context of inheritance tax planning. Let's say this time you subscribe to £25,000 worth of EIS shares by deferring a capital gains tax liability on the sale of residential property. So as in the previous example, you get 30% upfront income tax relief. You've deferred the capital gains tax liability and therefore saved tax at 28%. And of course, after 2 years, there is an inheritance tax exemption. So the net cost for this individual is £500, as they would have claimed a combined tax relief of 98%. So I hope these two examples give you a sense of how EIS subscriptions can provide generous tax reliefs. And so to summarise, we've discussed income tax relief, loss relief, capital gains tax exemption, capital gains tax deferral, inheritance tax exemption, and that EIS is government approved. With so many tax benefits, you can see why we might say the EIS should be part of the tax planning for most individuals. If you have any questions about EIS or need help with your tax planning, please get in touch with one of the team to book a free consultation. This was Bite-Sized Tax Tips. Thank you for watching.